McHatin Show. I'm Dirk Belligerent, your host, and this week we're going to be talking about Dark Knight, the resurgence of comic book movies, Dr. Horrible, and we're going to make some DVD recommendations. Why don't you say hello, McHatin?
Hey everybody, this is McHatin here. First thing I want to touch on is Dark Knight. I feel Dark Knight is one of those legendary comic book movies that is going to always be around. It's always going to give you an idea of how comic books should be turned into movies and why they should be turned into movies. But it also gives you an idea of how something can drag on for just too damn long.
Yeah, I really like Dark Knight. It's almost like a comic book movie that doesn't want to be a comic book movie. And you can tell when Christopher Nolan cuts to the action scenes, it's almost as if, okay, I gotta give you some action because you're here to see Batman. But really, this is the Joker's movie. It's the Joker and Two-Face movie, or Harvey Dent. And everything you've heard about Heath Ledger's performance is absolutely true. Now, it's being overshadowed because he died, and everyone's saying that he's only getting the attention because of his tragic, circumstances, but he really does deliver the goods here. If you didn't know it was Heath Ledger, you wouldn't know it was Heath Ledger. He's a force of nature. He is chaos, and that's what makes him an interesting villain, because unlike the lame Spider-Man villains, this guy is bad for the sake of being bad. He's not misunderstood. He's not an accident. He's really bad news.
I felt that while he played a killing joke Joker pretty much perfectly, he was not the best Joker. I still feel that Jack Nicholson was a better Joker than he was because he did the more commonly known Joker of over-the-top, zany, but yes, he would kill you and do it laughing all the way. This Joker was pretty much dark, disturbed, and, well, I guess for our new Dark War-torn millennium, that's the way everything needs to be. But it's not something you can sit there and let little kids watch.
Well, I disagree. I think this is the definitive Joker performance. Now, I'm looking at this as someone who doesn't really read the Batman comic books, but as someone as a movie character, this is a unique and very cool portrayal. Yes, it is not for the kids. The movie is PG-13, but it stomps all over the line of what you can get away with in a PG-13 movie without, causing nightmares, especially when you see Harvey Dent. They don't show you that for a reason, because it's really grisly. Now, I agree with you. The movie does run on a bit long. Because of the tension, it really grinds you down, and then the last half hour just feels like it's kind of really pounding for effect without having much effect. I think the performances are all great. Christian Bale kind of gets a short shrift because he's actually the third banana of the movie. He's the Bob Newhart of the movie because he has to, be the linchpin that everything else rotates around. Another quibble I have is that Christopher Nolan does not even try to hide that they're shooting the movie in Chicago. Gotham City looks just like Chicago. They didn't tart it up with any CG and monorails like they had in Bat Dude Starts. So right now, Dark Knight is blowing up at the box office. It's probably going to be the top moneymaker of the year and one of the top of all time. 2008 is really shaping up to be one of the golden years of comic book movies. And if you think about what we've had so far, we've had Dark Knight, Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, not great, but still pretty good. Wanted, Hellboy 2, and coming up in the next year, around Christmas, we're going to have The Spirit from Frank Miller, and then next March will be Watchmen, the biggest of the comic book movies, and the one that, if you screw up, will get you killed. So Zack Snyder of 300, we're watching you. It's been really a great year. Now, just a year ago, we had to endure Emo Spider Dork 3 with Peter Parker doing jazz hands and beating up Mary Jane. And, dear God, Fantastic Four Rises of Silver Surfer with Jessica Alba and her blue contact lenses and just Reed Richards disco dancing. Now, Sin City and 300, both Frank Miller properties, really kind of stepped up the game. But do you see that comic book movies are going to just get better and better, or is there a possibility they're going to backslide?
Honestly, it's all going to pretty much go downhill. Hey, when you start getting a scary movie with just your stuff in it, it's pretty much starting to go downhill. All right, Dr. Horrible. 3 words. Neil Patrick Harris. Freaking awesome. Love him. Because, frankly, you love him as Doogie. He is a really good character. being an adult. And hey, if you like How I Met Your Mother, you're gonna like this. It's quick, it's short, it's funny, and it appeals to nerds on all levels, and than the average Joe. Because hey, who doesn't want to be a supervillain?
Dr. Horrible was done by Joss Whedon, creator of Buffy, and it's a musical. It's a musical sing-along blog. And if you saw the classic Buffy episode Once More with Feeling, you know that Joss Whedon has this serious Stephen Sondheim musical kick. And that's what he gets his yayas out here. It's a short thing. It all told runs about 40 minutes in 3 episodes. And it stars Neil Patrick Harris, who has really been working that cool angle. They started with Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. And Nathan Fillion from Firefly, and an actress whose name slipped my mind. I'll put it in a super right here, who was on Buffy in the last season. I liked it. It was very slight. It's a throwaway work, but it was offered for free on the internet, and then I guess it's going to be taken down and put on DVD. So if you like Joss Whedon, if you like musicals, and you like Neil Patrick Harris, and yeah, what the heck, it's free. Check out Dr. Horrible.
Now, for my DVD recommendation, Justice League New Frontier. It shows some of the more golden age of Justice League, and also shows the DC line. And it also gives you an idea of just how much fun comic books were and how they're evolving into something a little bit better. It's gritty, it's violent, people die. It's probably not for little kids. Maybe teenagers can get away with it. Definitely for adults. It still maintains the camp of pretty much DC, and I gotta say I really like it. I mean, hey, it's a giant flying island with dinosaurs coming off of it. Dinosaurs, people.
While we're talking about movies that have $100 million plus budgets, I'm going to tell you about a movie. I'm going to recommend a movie that had a budget that probably was in the very low 5 figures. It's called Sidekick. It's an independent film. It was shot a few years ago in Toronto, and it's an interesting concept. It's about a schlubby little office worker who discovers that he thinks his co-worker may have superpowers, and he decides to help him develop those superpowers and to become a superhero, and he will be his sidekick. However, with great power sometimes comes the possibility of becoming a great big jerk. And what's interesting is this guy may not be using his powers for good. Now, it's a micro-budget film, okay? But it's got a good heart to it, and it's got a good vibe. It's kind of like The Clerk, if Clerks was a comic book movie. It's got a few good special effects, but on the other hand, it's kind of hampered by so-so lighting and stiff direction, but once again, you're kind of limited by your resources. My biggest problem was when they show just how the hero, finger quotes, is using his power. The scene was kind of harsh. I didn't like that. They could have done the same point differently. It's small. It's definitely for indie film fans and comic book fans. But if you're looking for something to kill time before Watchmen comes out, and you just want to give something, or you just want to root for the underdog, do check out Sidekick. It's a cool movie.
Final thoughts. I've got to say that right now, comic book movies are pretty much the westerns of 2-3 years ago, the ninja movies of the 80s. Late 80s, and pretty much the sci-fi films of pretty much every damn year there's at least one really crappy sci-fi film. But I gotta say this much, at least we're finally getting our time, people. We're finally getting our time.
What people are you talking to?
What people do you think? The nerds, man. Nerdcore.
Well, anyway, thanks for watching another episode of the Dirk and McHatin Show. I'm Dirk Belligerent. That's my man, McHatin.
Hey, people.
Final thoughts, like Jerry Springer would say. Fred Schneider should cover every song ever done. Fred Schneider of the B-52s. I can drive 55!